The 2001-2002 Detroit Red Wings were one of the most dominant teams in NHL history. This team had 10 future Hall of Famers. Yes, 10. That is absolutely insane. They were so dominant. They obviously won the Stanley Cup. They won the President's Trophy. They finished best in their division and best in the Western Conference. And they finished with a record of 51-17-10-4. That is insane. So with this team being so dominant, I wanted to see how they would stack up against today's NHL. So I created the entire roster, threw it into NHL 17, and this is what it looks like. 96 offense, 92 defense, and 94 goaltending. So this team, like I said, one of the most dominant teams in NHL history, really. Like, no one even really comes close. 10 future Hall of Famers. I just can't wrap my head around that. That's crazy. So here is the roster. On the first line left wing, we got Brendan Shanahan, the now president, or whatever he does there in Toronto. He is the man over there in Toronto now, but he was the man in Detroit for a little while, led the team in scoring when they won the Stanley Cup. Now, it wasn't a ton of points. He had 75 points. He also had 118 penalty minutes. In the postseason, he had 19 points in 23 games, so he was a big piece to this team going on this big Stanley Cup run. And centering Brendan Shanahan, we got one of the most important pieces in Wings franchise history, being Stevie Y, baby, Steve Yzerman. Now, I can relate because I've seen a lot of Steve Yzerman play, obviously in the Olympics, and with this team being so dominant for so many years, and with Steve Yzerman, you know, getting 100-point years like it's nothing. I remember a lot of Steve Yzerman, so he was so much fun to watch, and his stats pretty much entail that. Now, I didn't make him too overpowered. 93 I felt was fair, simply because he was 35, 36 years old when they won the Stanley Cup, so I feel like if he was, 30 or 29, I probably would have been in the 94, 95, 96 range, but I feel like a 93 overall is definitely fair. But he is a beast. He's the ultimate player, and he was the captain. For a long time, he was the youngest captain in NHL history. I think he became captain at something like just over 18 years old or just over 19 years old. Very, very young, and he captained this team for his entire career. Never played for another team, never put another sweater on, aside from the obviously Olympic play, playing for Team Canada and winning gold medal, might I add. But on this right wing, we got Brett Hull, who has an insane shot, so I went ahead and I made his shooting category pretty nuts. He was a big piece to this team as well, scored 30 goals in the regular season, added 18 points in 23 games. Obviously, another one of the Hall of Famers. All three players on the first line were first ballot Hall of Famers, so that's pretty impressive as it is. Brett Hull was a beast throughout his NHL career. If you didn't know, Brett Hull once scored 86 goals in an NHL season. Yes, 86. He finished that year 78 games played, 86 goals, 45 helpers, for 131 points. That is just nuts. I don't know if you'll ever see numbers like that in the NHL ever again. That is just insane. But he did that in 1990-91. So 11 years later, he's winning a Stanley Cup with the Detroit Red Wings. Another Hall of Famer is Lucky Luke Robitaille. He was a beast for LA for a long, long time. He was a little bit older as well when they won the Stanley Cup, so his overall kind of shows that, but still a very, very well-rounded player. Luke Robitaille was a beast for a long time. And you got probably my favorite Detroit Red Wing of all time, Sergei Fedorov. This guy was so much fun to watch. I remember him in countless All-Star games. I remember him just being absolutely insane. Plus, he was on one of my favorite teams of all time. He played for the Anaheim Mighty Ducks for a little while, back when they were the Mighty Ducks. He was so much fun to watch. I loved watching Sergei Fedorov. So having a 93 overall centerman and then a 91, that's absolutely crazy. And then they got the rookie sensation, Pavel Datsyuk. Now, I think his overall is a little bit high, but I asked people on Twitter and they said to make his overall 85. He was 22 when he ended up winning the Stanley Cup. In his rookie year, obviously he became one of the better players in Red Wings history, and now he is a great player over there in the KHL. So I made Pavel Datsyuk 85 overall. Could be a little bit less, could be around the 84, 83 mark, but I feel like 85 is comfortable considering his skill set. He only had 35 points in the regular season, but he did come alive in the playoffs. So Pavel Datsyuk, a young Pavel Datsyuk, 22 years old. And then we got Thomas Holmstrom, the guy who pretty much invented standing in front of the net and screaming screening goalies. He was the king of that, always living in the crease. I love Thomas Holmstrom growing up. He was a lot of fun to watch. A nice Swede over there on the third line left wing. We got the old man, Igor Larionov. His age is actually wrong there. He was actually 40 years old when they won the Stanley Cup, but he was still pretty dominant. Had 43 points in the regular season and 11 points in the postseason. So another Hall of Famer, a former Vancouver Canuck. Now he is an NHL player agent. He's got a bunch of players like Nikolai Goldobin. He deals with a bunch of Russians. So that's awesome. Igor Larionov finished his career with the Detroit Red Wings, finished on top with a Stanley Cup. We got Kirk Maltby here, who played for the Wings for a long time. He was really good, just a good third line guy to have, grindy in the corners, score goals when you need them. Pretty much the perfect third liner. He was awesome. And then we got Darren McCarty. Now he is probably known for scoring some clutch goals in the postseason. This guy was a lot of fun to watch. I know he was a fan favorite in Joe Louis Arena. He had a few clutch playoff winning goals in like double overtime or something. He's actually a pretty skilled guy, believe it or not. He put up a ton of numbers in junior, but coming into the NHL, he kind of found himself as an enforcer. And then we got Chris Draper here on the fourth line center. A super cool fact about Chris Draper: he was once traded for $1 from the Winnipeg Jets. I'm not kidding. Look it up. He was traded for $1. I don't know how that actually worked. I don't know if you can trade players for straight up money anymore, but $1, that has got to be the best $1 ever spent, not even in hockey history, just in like the universe. How do you get a player like Chris Draper for $1? That is absolutely insane. He played for the Wings for a long time, and he was a big piece to this Stanley Cup run as well. And you got Boyd Devereaux. Don't know a whole lot about this guy, just looked up his stats, and he seemed like a decent fourth or a third line grinder. Had 25 points in the regular season, so he is no slouch. Ended up having 6 points in the Stanley Cup run, so not a bad piece there on the fourth line. Moving on over to the defense here, we got Mr. Perfect, Nicholas Lidstrom. Some say he's never made a mistake in his entire life. He is obviously one of the best defensemen of all time, not just in Detroit Red Wings history, of all time. Nick Lidstrom was the perfect defenseman. He rarely made a mistake, always put up extremely good numbers for the Wings, and no surprise there, he has his jersey retired and he is in the Hall of Fame. We got 90 overall Chris Chelios. I didn't want to make his overall this high. You guys asked for it on Twitter. Since he was 38, 39 years old when they won the Stanley Cup, you guys insisted his overall was higher. I originally had it at 88, but you guys wanted it at a 90, which kind of makes sense. He had close to 40 points, and he had 14 points in the postseason as well, so not bad. We got Yuri Slegger here, just a nice, decent defensive defenseman. We got Steve Duchesne, who is actually a pretty good offensive defenseman. Had a few 20, 25 goal seasons earlier in his career, but he was actually a pretty decent piece of this Stanley Cup run as well. Had 18 points in the regular season and 6 in the postseason. We got Fredrik Olofsson. Don't know a whole lot about this guy. That's why I made him an 81 defensive defenseman. Again, I don't know a whole lot. I know he's a Swede, and his stats definitely look like he was a defensive defenseman. Now we got Yuri Fisher, who is a very interesting story. Actually, a pretty sad story here with Yuri Fisher. In a game in November of 2005, he went into cardiac arrest. He actually died for a few moments. He fell over on the bench. Fortunately for him, not only his team doctor, but the other doctor as well from the other team came over and eventually got him back to life pretty much, and he actually had to retire from that. So very, very sad. Moving on here to the goaltenders, we got the Dominator, my favorite goalie of all time, Dominik Hasek. He's a little bit older, but he was still dominant, 94 overall. And then the backup goalie, Manny Legacy. So we got to hurry this up here. I feel like I went way too in depth with all of those players. We need to get things started here. Let's go ahead and get the simulation underway. I'm expecting us to be a dominant team. I can't see us not getting in the 50 win range. We actually lost our first game against Tampa Bay, but 3 wins right off the bat. But I'm thinking this team is going to be anywhere from the 50, 55 win range. I would love to see us hit the 60 mark. That would be unbelievable. And we've won 6 in a row, and we actually lose 2 in a row there really quickly. But this team was so scary to play against. Obviously, being a Canucks fan, it was no fun playing the Detroit Red Wings. I guess it was no fun for 29 other NHL teams to play the Detroit Red Wings either. This team had so many vets. They had, let me just read off the ages here. 40, 39, 37, 36, 36, 36, 36, 35, 34, 34, 32, 31, 31, 30, and 30. So that's like 11 or 12 guys that are over 30 years old. Like, they had so many veterans and they still put up, you know, almost 55 wins and brought together one of the most talented groups of all time. So pretty crazy to think that a bunch of older players could come up with a team like this. It's pretty crazy to think that a bunch of players who would be considered old and washed up now put together such a crazy run, but no one had a lot of points. Like I said, Brendan Shanahan led the way with 75 points, but let's slow sim one game here with a team that kind of has the identical record to us. Their record is a little bit better, but let's go here, guys. First period, there you go, Nicholas Lidstrom, Mr. Perfect. Let's go period number 2, 2-0 Brendan Shanahan, and they come back with one, Steven Stamkos on Manny Legacy, but that is a big victory against a team who are probably going to be battling with all year, have a very similar record. Let's go ahead here, go all the way up to the trade deadline. Just the sheer amount of talent that they had. Sergei Fedorov, Brett Hall, Nicholas Lidstrom. It's absolutely crazy. But I think the craziest fact is that Chris Draper was traded for $1. I just cannot get over that. That is so weird. That's such a strange trade, and like, why did they want to get rid of him for $1? Was he that worthless for the Winnipeg Jets? I mean, considering what he did for Detroit, I mean, that's got to be the best $1 ever spent. That's just crazy. Also, the Detroit Red Wings are known for their insane drafting. Obviously, they drafted Datsuk in the 6th round, 171st overall. They got Holmstrom in the 10th round. They don't even do a 10th round anymore. 257th overall. That's crazy. Obviously, I believe Henrik Zetterberg was like a 6th or a 7th round pick as well. So they have one of the best scouting staff in the NHL. They still do today. They get steals all the time in the 4th and the 5th round. I believe there's a bunch of ex-players that are now scouts for the Detroit Red Wings, but we're up to 40 wins here. I don't think it should be a problem for us to hit 50, 42, 17, and 2. If any team can win a Stanley Cup, I think this team is the team to do it. We have lost twice in these throwback teams. We lost with the Avalanche and we lost with the Penguins, both Stanley Cup winning teams. So hopefully we can end that trend of losing here. Let's go with a nice rivalry here. Let's find the Avalanche. There you go. We'll slow sim a game against the Avalanche, who look like they're having just a terrible record. But that was another giant rivalry. Whenever the Avalanche played the Wings, that was a lot of fun. It was always a bloodbath. If you want to see some insane hockey, go on YouTube and look up Wings versus Avalanche in like the 2000s or 2001 playoff matchup or something. It's pretty insane. It was a bloodbath every single game. It was crazy. The goalies were fighting. It was awesome. Let's go here. First period up against the Colorado Avalanche, and Landeskog gets it started off. Period number 2. All right, tied up 2-2. Kirk Maltby and Olofsson gets one. Nathan McKinnon gets one right back, and we double up on them 4-2. Datsuk and Shanahan. There you go. All right, the season is almost over, and I think my prediction is just about right. We should have, oh yeah, we're definitely going to get more than 55 wins, hopefully. We're already at 52 here. Could we hit 60? I'm not sure how many games are left, but we're winning pretty much every single game right now. We lost against Tampa there. Yeah, I don't think we're going to hit 60. Maybe if we win the next 2, we will hit 60 wins. Come on. Oh, no. Another big rivalry team, the New Jersey Devils, and our 60-win hope. Oh, my God. We got Montreal in round number 1. But before we do that, let's have a look at the stats. I want to fly through this. 120 points for this team. Unfortunately, didn't hit 60 wins. Obviously, a President's Trophy winning team. We're 10 points ahead of Washington. Goals for, I believe we scored the most goals. We scored 290. Oh, no, we didn't. We finished 4th behind Dallas, Washington, and Tampa Bay. They had 300 goals. Holy crap, that's crazy. Let's go power play percentage here. We finished, okay, in the top 10 at 23%. How about our PK? We finished 84%. That's number 2. So I will go ahead and take that. Our home and our away record pretty much identical. 8-2-0 in our last 10. Have a look at the player stats for the regular season. Brett Hall led the way. No one hit 30 goals. No, actually, I'm sorry. Nick Lidstrom hit 30 goals. What? Where did that come from? I don't think I made his shooting category that crazy. I mean, it's decent, but wow, 32 goals. Led our team in goals. That's crazy. But Brett Hall, Steve Yzerman, 75 points for him. It wasn't really a player that had a ton of points. Obviously, Brett Hall had a decent amount, but look at all the players that had over 50. You know, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 players had over 50 points. And as I'm looking right now, Kirk Maltby almost had 50. That's crazy. Igor Larionov had 40 points. Larionov almost matched his season total from the actual Stanley Cup winning run. He had 43 points. He had 40 here. Chris Draper had 36, the $1 man. Thomas Holmstrom, Steve Duchesne there, Darren McCarty. So everyone was a plus player. Look at that, plus 36, plus 40. That's crazy. And as for goaltenders, I believe Dominic Hasek absolutely led the show. He had 7 shutouts, 5 assists though. That guy loves to play the puck. 49 and 15. That is ridiculous. Really quickly before we head into the postseason, we will have a look at the entire NHL, how everybody did. No question there, Dominic Hasek led the way. Rookie skaters, you don't really need to look at that, but it's obviously Marner. Oh wow, Marner had 83 points. Holy crap. Matthews had 80 and Patrick Laine had 73. As for all skaters, wow, 300-point guys. You don't really see that a whole lot in GM mode. Ovechkin had 58 goals. Kane had 59. What is this? Tyler Seguin had 42, Stamkos 45. Wow, Derek Stepan had 93 points. Where did that come from? That's crazy. All right, let's hop into the postseason here. Hopefully, we're going to win our first Stanley Cup up against Carey Price and the Montreal Canadiens. So let's go here. We beat them last week, and in game number 1, we shut them out. Game number 2, we win 5-1. Let's see if we can take a 3-0 lead. No, they shut us out, and they get right back into the series. All right, this is a big game here. 5-2. There you go. We can get rid of Montreal. Don't let them force a game 7, and they do just that. Oh my God. All right, we're going to game number 7 here, just like that. Oh boy, this is not good. Come on, guys, let's go here. Let's just dominate them. I want to take a 6-1 performance. First period. Oh no, Galchenyuk, Patches, and Radulov. Are you serious? What the hell? Period number 2. Oh my God, 6-0. What? Where the hell? What the hell is with this simulation? We get destroyed 9-1. Are you serious? What the hell? We get bounced in the first round? Are you kidding me? Radulov had 5 points. Patches had 4. What the hell? I was not expecting that. For the 3rd time in a row, we get bounced in the postseason. A first-round exit for the best team we've ever had. We get killed 9-1. What is this simulation? Oh my God. That should not happen. I don't really have words on what to say there. What the hell? How did that even happen? That was shocking to say the least. I don't really have any words, but this was a very close vote. You can see there it was tied. I decided to go with the Wings. I felt like it would be more fun, but obviously we got bounced. So let me know who you want me to do in the next throwback team build. It doesn't specifically have to be a Stanley Cup winning team, maybe a team that had an interesting season, never won the cup. Let's make it interesting for the next one. I don't want to do a Stanley Cup winning team. I think if I was to run the simulation once more, I don't think we get bounced in the first round. I think that's just unlucky simulation, but you know what? It is what it is. Thanks for watching, and I will see you guys in the next one. I just ran the simulation really quickly one more time. We actually got past the first round against Florida, and then we ended up losing in round number 2. So I don't know if the simulation's crap or if this team is cursed. I'm not sure what it is. Here are the stats for everyone else one more time, but I don't know what the hell happened there. That was so weird. And you can see here Nick Lidstrom only had 17 goals. So this simulation is wild. I don't know what the deal is. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next one.